What is going on, guys? Mike here with Chit Chat Gaming. So today I want to talk about Nintendo Switch Online. It's been a topic that everybody's been talking about. I kind of gave you my 2 cents last week about how I want Nintendo 64 Mini and such, but today though I want to talk about the Nintendo Switch Online, what I kind of think as far as the direction it's going to go here and if I'm going to be picking it up or not. So realistically here, when it first launched last week here, this past week, everything's just running together. I went ahead and I was going to pick it up. I went into the Nintendo eShop, I went down to Nintendo Switch Online, and I went to go ahead and extend my service from going from the regular plan, the $20 a year plan, to the expansion pack, which of course is $49.99. And I figured, I got like 4 months left, and I'm like, maybe they'll give me some kind of good deal. It'll be like $25, $30, something like that. And I got in there, and it looks like they're going to be charging me about $45. Now for me, $5 or maybe $6, whatever, tax or so forth, really isn't that much of a discount when you still have 4 months left of your service. Considering the fact that I really don't play on my Nintendo Switch Online very much. I mean, once in a while I play Splatoon, of course, playing Mario Kart and so forth, but not like all the time here. Most of my other multiplayer games are on my other consoles or on my PC. So for me, I was like, do I really want to do this? Am I really going to get use out of the Nintendo 64 games and the Sega Genesis? Well, the Sega Genesis games I probably won't. It's nice to have them on the Switch, but again though, I have the Sega Genesis Classic Mini. I have the Retrocade, which has all the Genesis games on as well too. I have several collections. I mean, it's just like there's just so many ways that I can play these Sega Genesis games as well too. So I'm really gonna want to play them here. And not only that, Nintendo has Switch Nintendo anyways has added a bunch of those games to their library already anyway. So again though, I was up in the air on that. Then I was thinking Nintendo 64. I personally have no way of playing Nintendo 64 games. I could emulate them, but I don't. Really, that's the only way I can think about that I can do it. I don't have a Raspberry Pi or anything like that, which you can do, yes, but again though, I don't have any way of doing it. So I was thinking, well, maybe this would be worth it for me. So I thought about picking it up. I didn't bite the bullet yet, but I thought about it. And then thank God I didn't, because I heard nothing but horror stories on the way that these are emulated. So I'm not too sure who's porting these over. I know in the past for the mini consoles and some of the actual Neo Geo games and such as well too, it has been M2. Again, though, I'm not too sure who's doing it, if it's M2 or not. I wouldn't think so, because they got a pretty good reputation. But from what it looks like, that these particular games, Nintendo 64 games, are not getting ported over so well. They're kind of bad quality, bad texturing, and everything else here. Just graphical, they are not good. Frame rate and everything else is just horrible, which I understand, because like I said in my last video here, a couple videos ago, I was talking about the Nintendo 64 Classic Mini, how I'd love to have one, that the Nintendo 64 is very, very unstable when it comes to ROMs and it comes to emulating. I know a lot of people out there, they're going to say that's bullcrap because they emulate them. They have them on their Raspberry Pis. They have no problems whatsoever. But realistically, they are a little bit difficult. They're more unstable than doing things like Nintendo Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and what have you here. So I, for one, am glad I decided to hold off here. I was a little upset, like I said, because the whole $45 thing. I thought for sure I'd get a little bit more of a discount than that. To me, it's really not worth moving up in a package if the games aren't going to run correctly. And really, I went for that library to kind of expand as well too. I mean, a lot of those games were on the Wii U and so forth. So I'm definitely waiting on that. But like I said, also the biggest thing is, if the games don't play well, then why the hell am I going to spend money on them? So that was kind of a decision I decided to make. So I'm really not going to get much use out of the Sega Genesis games. I may dip into them here once in a while. I'm going to have so many versions of Sonic the Hedgehog. And like I said, I may get into those every so often. But with the whole Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise expansion pack, I thought for sure, well, you know what? I'll probably get use out of that, because I'll be playing that regardless here. Then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, I can pick that up for $24.99 one time. One-time payment of $24.99, and I can pick up the Happy Home Paradise. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just do that here and not really jump into a $50 a year plan. Not to mention, if I decide that I don't want to continue with my Nintendo Switch Online, which probably won't never happen, because obviously I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I'm always at least going to have the $20 service. But if I decide I don't want to continue with the $50 a year, guess what? I lose access to all those games. So all the Nintendo 64 games, all the Genesis games, I imagine that Happy Home Paradise, I lose access to all that content because I decided not to renew. So I thought about that as well here too. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, that's just kind of crappy. I understand the same thing happens when you have Xbox Gold or when you have PlayStation Plus. Yes, it happens, but you get a whole slew of games. You get just tons and tons of games. 3 new games, 4 new games a month, whatever you have it. Plus a whole other library that's available as well too. Plus you got all those third-party games and some first-party games, of course, that you have available online as well too. So that's kind of what made me decide to hold off on the whole, upgrading to Nintendo Switch expansion pack. As much as I really want to play, the Nintendo 64 games on my Switch, especially online, that there was definitely a buying point for me, a selling point, I should say, is when I saw that you could play the games online with friends. That kind of what made me really want to go ahead and pick it up. But I'm going to hold off, guys. I have heard there's some new games coming out for Nintendo Switch here, or for the Nintendo Switch library for Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis. So maybe I'll hold off and see if we get some other new games as well here too, and see if they do decide to do something to kind of fix the quality of their ports, of their emulation as well too, before I decide to jump in. So again, I would love to see the Nintendo 64 Classic Mini, but the thing is now is if we did get an $80 little mini console, are the ROMs gonna look, the ports of these ROMs, are they gonna look the same as what they look on Nintendo Switch Online? Probably, most likely, they're probably gonna have the same issue. Which again, though, the good thing is that you could probably most likely hack that with something like Hakchi, and you could add your own ROMs on there. But still, that's not the point. The point of Nintendo should be doing the right thing here. And if they're gonna make you pay for something, whether it's $50 a month or if they decide to give us an $80 mini console, they should do the right thing and make sure that we get, the best port of these games that we could possibly get. I mean, they should look better than the freaking Wii U versions. That's just all there is to it. They should definitely look better than Wii U versions. And they should look the same, actually, because they're probably more likely the same ROMs. But again, though, we'll see. Only time can tell, guys. Like I said, I decided personally to not upgrade to Nintendo Switch Online. I'm a big supporter of Nintendo, but I also don't support some of the decisions that they decide to make, which is right here, of not doing the right thing. And maybe they'll correct it, but again, though, they shouldn't have released it until it was corrected and it was fixed. And not only that, like I said, though, giving somebody a $5, $6, whatever it is, a discount when they have 4 months left is kind of crappy. I think everybody should get like some kind of introductory price, and then after that, after their first year, then it jumps to $49.99. I mean, it's brand new. You want to get people in the door, you give them some kind of introductory price, whether it's $30. That probably sounds fair. $30, and then if you want to continue using it for the second year, by that time your library of Nintendo 64 and Genesis games is more likely built up. Maybe you add in Game Boy Color games. Maybe you add in other games too. There's so many other different consoles that you can add in there. Speaking of the Game Boy and such as well too, the Advance, you can add the Game Boy Advance or something. But maybe that won't happen within the first year. But again, though, at least you will get Nintendo 64 games and more Sega Genesis games. So that way, when you come back for your second year for the renewal, by that point, you're like, okay, well, I played these games enough for a year. I want to continue playing them. So I may have some save files. I may have started Zelda. I started Nintendo Super Mario 64. There's just so many Ocarina of Time. Maybe Skyward Sword. God dang it, Majora's Mask. Maybe all those have come out too. And you're like, well, maybe I've started those games and I want to finish them because I didn't get a chance to. So maybe you'll keep your subscription. So again, though, guys, let me know down below what you think here. Are you going to keep your regular Nintendo Online, Nintendo Switch Online? Are you going to upgrade to the expansion pack as well here too? Again, let me know down below what you guys think. I've heard mixed reviews all over YouTube and all over Twitter as well here too. So I'm always curious to see what you guys think. And also whether or not I made the right decision. In my mind here, I think I did. I think I did a good thing by holding off to see what else we get in the future and if they address these issues they're having with the current state of the ROMs and such as well too, guys. So make sure you guys like the video if you choose to. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn that bell notification to keep updated with all things that is Chit Chat Gaming. And as always, guys, happy gaming.